Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Today's story takes us behind the bar where a manager tried to fix a system that wasn't broken. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Tried to micromanage the bartenders? I let manager logic run its course. I work as a bartender in one of those big corporate restaurants. You know the type. Everything looks polished and professional up front, but behind the scenes it's a chaotic mess held together by duct tape, sarcasm, and sheer stubbornness. Now in our restaurant, the bar staff has always had our own little kingdom inside the walk-in cooler. It's a caged-off, locked section where we keep all the essentials, beer, wine, mixers, cut fruit, garnishes, all the stuff we need to actually keep the bar running. For as long as I've worked there, the system was simple. The bartenders keep the keys behind the bar and we restock as needed. No drama, no issues. Enter our new manager. She's fresh, eager, and apparently determined to leave her mark by fixing systems that aren't broken. Out of nowhere, she decided that we could no longer keep the keys. Nope, from now on, anytime we needed to get into the cage, we had to ask her to unlock it, and she would physically follow us into the cooler to watch what we were taking. And before you ask, no, there was no reason for this. Inventory was fine, no signs of theft, nothing going missing. The only explanation I can come up with is that she's either a micromanager to the core or just enjoys making our lives harder. Either way, it was obnoxious. If you've ever worked in a bar, you know how many times during a shift you need to grab something from the cage. It's constant. Beer runs, wine refills, more fruit, another mixer, and we're usually in a rush, juggling orders and customers. So having to hunt down a manager every single time and then be babysat while pulling product? Yeah, not exactly efficient. So picture this. It's Monday. We've just survived a weekend that could be best described as a war zone. The bar's a wreck, everything's low, and we're starting the week with nothing prepped. Of course, our new favorite manager's the one leading the shift. Fine. Her rules, her problem. I needed to stock beer and wine, prep fruit, mix syrups, the works, so I did exactly what she wanted. I asked her to unlock the cage and follow me in. Need to grab some beer, I said. She sighed, grabbed the key, and trudged along. I pulled out as much as I could carry, she locked the cage, and back we went. 15 minutes later. Hey, I need some wine now. Back we went. Unlock, grab, relock. 5 minutes later. Oh, time to make mixers, except I didn't grab everything at once. Oh no, that would defeat the purpose of her precious system. I grabbed one thing at a time. Mixer base first, she locked up. 5 minutes later, back we went for another, then another. Each trip, she followed me in, watched me like a hawk, and then locked it back up. Fruit time was even better. I need oranges, unlock, grab one bag, lock it back up. 10 minutes later, I need limes, unlock, grab limes, relock. Another 10 minutes, now I need lemons. Back again. And then later still, actually more lemons. We need wedges and wheels. I could see the frustration building every time she had to stop what she was doing to trail after me into the walk-in, just to watch me carry out one bag of produce like it was contraband. I stayed perfectly polite, of course. I was only following the system she insisted on. By the end of the shift, she looked ready to tear her hair out. I was having the time of my life. Because when I came in the next morning, guess what was sitting right where it belonged? The keys, back behind the bar, just like before. No announcement, no explanation, no apology, just a quiet reversal of her brilliant new policy. Funny how quickly manager logic disappears when they're the ones dealing with the consequences. This new manager must have never managed a bar. Instead of looking managerial, she looks stupid for not learning the business before making changes. And our second story. You want me to clean the office exactly like that? All right, I'll do it. I work as an office cleaner for a small company. Nothing glamorous, but it pays the bills, and I don't mind the work. My routine is usually pretty simple. Empty trash bins, vacuum carpets, wipe down desks, sanitize the kitchen, keep the bathrooms from looking like a horror movie. Most of the staff barely notice me, which is honestly how I like it. But there's one manager who can't help herself. Let's call her Karen. Now, I've had bosses give the occasional suggestion like, hey, make sure the conference room table shines when the client comes in, or wipe the fridge handle more often. Fair enough. But Karen, she's turned giving instructions into her own personal Olympic sport. She doesn't just tell me what to clean, she tells me how to clean, when to clean, and apparently what brand of cleaner must be used to do it. And heaven forbid I deviate from her gospel. So one day she hands me a typed-out list of tasks, front and back, like I'd been hired to deep clean Buckingham Palace. My eyes skimmed it, and most of it was normal, but one line jumped out and slapped me in the face. Clean the kitchen counters with the exact brand of cleaner in the back storage room. No other cleaner will do. Her words, not mine. I raised an eyebrow, but I didn't argue. Okay, sure thing, I said. So I head back to the storage room where all the supplies live. I found the bottle she's referring to shoved in a corner, looking like it had been there since the Bush administration. The expiration date had long passed, and the smell when I unscrewed the cap just about burned my nose hairs. This wasn't your average lemon-scented spray. This was chemical warfare. I stood there for a second debating whether I should be the responsible adult and tell her about it, but then I remembered her exact phrasing, no other cleaner will do. And at that point I thought, fine, you want this cleaner? You got it. So I marched to the kitchen and started spraying down the counters like I was fumigating for roaches. The smell hit instantly. It was sharp, toxic, almost eye-watering. Within minutes, people walking through the kitchen started gagging. Whoa, what is that? One employee asked, covering his nose with his sleeve. Did something spill in here? Another muttered, holding her coffee cup like it might dissolve. Meanwhile, I just kept scrubbing. Spray, wipe, spray, wipe. I made sure every inch of that counter gleamed with the power of expired industrial strength doom. The smell only grew stronger. Soon, people were opening windows and fanning themselves with folders. Someone half-jokingly asked if they needed to call hazmat. The whole time I just kept working silently like a model employee dutifully following orders. Finally, the queen herself emerged from her office. Karen came striding out, nose wrinkling, eyes watering. She actually coughed as she stepped into the kitchen. "What on earth is that smell?" she demanded. I calmly straightened up, rag in hand, and said, "Oh, that's the cleaner you asked me to use, the one from the back storage room. You said no other cleaner would do." Her expression was priceless. A mix of confusion, frustration, and the dawning realization that she had done this to herself. She didn't say much, just muttered, "Well, maybe I need to be more specific next time," before retreating back into her office like a defeated general. Meanwhile, the rest of the staff scrambled to finish damage control. Windows were propped open, fans plugged in, people waving notebooks to move the air. One guy joked that the counters were now sterile enough for open-heart surgery. As for me, I just kept wiping with a little smile on my face, because I knew one thing for sure. I'd followed her instructions to the letter. If Karen wanted to micromanage down to the exact bottle of cleaner, then she could live with the results. And let's just say, the next time I cleaned the kitchen, nobody gave me special instructions. I'd be looking for a new client. If any of the staff gets ill from the crap she had you use, it could fall back on you for not using your better judgment and using it anyway. Sounds like she's trying to throw you under the bus or get rid of you. And our last story. Riverfront Karen versus the fisherman. For 3 years, my happy place has been a quiet bend on Willow Creek. It's a state-managed waterway with a public easement. The smallmouth bass bite at dusk, the current is gentle, and it's been my escape. Well, it was peaceful until Karen bought the ice cream shop on the bank. At first, it was just her glaring at me from the back patio of Karen's shop. Then one day, I found a handwritten sign nailed to a tree. "Private, no fishing." I ignored it. The law is clear. The waterway and its banks are public access. The ignoring drove her nuts. A week later, I came down to the creek and nearly choked laughing. 6 massive industrial-grade yellow and black no trespassing signs bolted to trees all along the river. They screamed, "Private property, hunting, fishing, or trespassing strictly forbidden. Violators will be prosecuted." So I went to have a chat. Me. "Ma'am, about those signs?" Karen, already red in the face. "They're working. I saw you looking at them. This land is mine. I don't want your kind leaving fish guts and smells all around my shop." Me. "This is a public easement. You can't..." Karen, pointing an ice cream scoop at my chest. "Get out of my store. Next day I was fishing. Sure enough, the back door of the shop slammed open. Karen stormed out in her apron, shrieking, "What did I tell you? Are you illiterate?" I calmly held up my fishing license. I'm within my rights. Karen's voice cracked glass. "I'm calling the police." "Please do," I said, casting again. She stormed off. No cops ever showed. She wanted to fight? Fine. I called the State Department of Natural Resources. Officer Dave, the conservation officer, actually sighed into the phone when I described the signs. "Karen's shop? We've been waiting for this. Sit tight." So I set up the ultimate showdown. Saturday, 2 p.m., the shop was packed. Families lined up out the door. I unfolded a lawn chair directly under the biggest sign and cast my line. 3 minutes later, bang, the back door exploded open. Karen storming like a banshee. "Again? I'm done with you. Sheriff's on his way and you're going to jail." She didn't notice the DNR truck and a sheriff's cruiser pulling into the lot until the crowd gasped. Her smug grin could have cracked concrete. She ran up to the officers like she just won the lottery. "Thank God you're here. Arrest this man. He's trespassing and harassing me." Officer Dave ignored her completely. He walked to the tree, ran his hand over the huge yellow sign, then turned back. "Ma'am, did you install these signs?" Karen, "Of course I did. It's my land. I can ban anyone I want." Dave's voice went flat. "Wrong. The state holds easement rights up to the high water mark. Posting unauthorized signs on public land is a misdemeanor, and threatening prosecution for lawful activity? That's harassment." The deputy added, "And you're creating a public nuisance. Misleading citizens about their rights is not something we take lightly." Karen's face went from lobster red to deathly pale. The entire ice cream line was dead silent. Kids, clutching cones, stared wide-eyed. The officers wrote her a citation on the spot and told her she had 24 hours to remove every sign or face $500 per sign per day fines. As the officers drove away, Karen tried to slink back inside, head down. I strolled up to the counter inside her shop, smiled at the teenage cashier, and said loud enough for half the patio to hear, "1 double scoop of justice. Sorry, I mean chocolate chip cookie dough. In a waffle cone, please." I walked back to my spot, licked my cone, and cast my line. Right in view of the whole crowd, I reeled in a gorgeous 15-inch smallmouth bass. The patio erupted in cheers. Karen's signs are gone. Her nickname is now Sign Karen around town. Business at her shop? Let's just say people prefer not to buy ice cream from someone who tries to bully veterans, fishermen, and kids out of their public space. The best part was how you let the state deal with her mess. You didn't rip the signs down yourself. That would have given her something to accuse you of. Instead, you called the DNR, and suddenly she was staring down $500 per sign per day fines. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.